Hey, what's up guys? It's your boy Speed here. Today, we're going to be looking at Ame's carry Tidehunter. He recently stomped Game and Gladiators with his strategy going a Morbid Mask into Radiance on carry Tidehunter and making the hero look quite incredible. And honestly, I think Dota over time will continue to shift in this direction where people are just going to be super open-minded to playing offlaners in the safe lane. The reason why I think it's going to be less likely, at least in my current understanding of Dota, that people put safe laners in the off lane is because it's often just too greedy. However, we've seen that, a lot of offlane heroes are really greedy. They just tend to have slightly earlier timings and often a better laning stage. But with talents and facets, a lot of offlaners are kind of just better carries than a lot of current carries. I mean, heroes like Ursa and Slark often just feel too slow-paced and very risky to draft early on because you know where they're going and they have very hard counter picks. Where I often feel like heroes with Tidehunter don't struggle with that nearly as much. And so yeah, without further ado, let's get into Ame's Tidehunter and talk about it. On top of that, go sign up to the gameleap website, guys. I'm posting new content over there almost every day, and I'll see you there. So first off, he has Kraken Swell, which gives you damage block on your W every time you get kills or assists if you hit people with Anger Smash. His Blubber was buffed a lot as of late. Basically, it's the one that removes status effects. Hard dispels you every 450 damage. It used to be much higher than that. I think it was 550, and at one point at level 1, Kraken was 600, so now it's just flat 450, which is really great. Super strong. In terms of starting items, he's got Tango Stick, Quelling, Gauntlet, Branch. You could rush a Bracer on this hero. You can rush a Wand on this hero. He's against Brood, Willow, so there's not much of a reason. I'm even honestly surprised he has a Stick into Brood. Usually against Brood, you don't buy Stick. So I would expect him to have Bracer components here, plus Quelling, but sure. At level 1, he decides to go for Gush. I think this depends on the lane. I'm not gonna lie, I find this a little surprising to skill Gush. The reason why is it's more than double the mana of Anchor Smash, and Anchor Smash is a great ability. Perhaps the concern of Anchor Smash would be pushing the wave, right? If you were to use this ability to secure any creep, or even harass the enemy, you will hard push the wave. So perhaps his mindset is that Gush is a trading ability, as he actually gets quite a few stick charges. Brood casted a web. You're going to get quite a bit of value without pushing the wave. And to be fair, wow, is that a first blood on Tofu? All right, well, there you have it. Now, to be fair, the main way, if you're going to play carry Tide, the main way you should use Gush is actually generally on the pause 4, or more accurately, on who your support is next to. Right? Because you want to maximize the damage they will get from the 40% slow, crazy number, and 3 armor reduction, which used to actually be better. I think it used to be 4 or... Yeah, I think it definitely was 4 at one point. So in terms of items, I'm actually mildly surprised he didn't buy a Bracer. I definitely think this is a hero that can buy double Bracer in the lane and be a complete nuisance. And one of the benefits about going something like double Bracer in some games is if you think your support is going to leave. So if you're playing in a match, you have a roaming pause 5, maybe you have something greedy like a bounty hunter or a spear picker that is going to leave and not help you. You can buy double Bracer, take points in your W, and be completely self-sustaining. He's going for the more aggressive item build or aggressive playstyle, which is going to be Boots Rush. The Boots Rush, the main benefit, is going to be chasing people with Gush, and I would say more importantly, actually landing Anchor Smash. The main value of Anchor Smash at this point is to make people miss last hits, so he could look for it in a situation like this. If Willow wasn't zoning him out, he could look for it in a situation like this to mess with the Brood CS. And if you're in a 1v1, Tide is incredible. I mean, this hero is really good. I wonder if he's going to skill... Okay, so he went for the W. Yeah. Now, in terms of skill build, there's 2 different things you have to keep in mind. Kraken Shell is something you want to take if, again, you're going to be left alone a lot. It's the better spell. In fact, you want to have it at level 3 and level 4. And often, if the lane is not easy at all, you want to take it at level 2, sometimes even level 1, but generally level 2 and level 3, as it gets really good at level 2, going from 15 to 35, more than a double, and it makes most heroes do half damage to you, or even less if they're affected by Anchor Smash or you get a Stout Shield proc. But yeah, generally use Anchor Smash to secure creeps, especially flag bearers. It's physical damage, so it's really great at securing flag bearers. As he's pushing the wave here, looking for an opportunity to get the Lotus, his Clockwork's going to do that. In terms of his items, looks like he's just going to rush Phase Boots, which, again, I find a little surprising. I do think that the 1 Bracer is probably really value on this hero. A little bit of extra HP regen goes a long way. This hero gets a lot of value out of HP regen because its HP is so effective with damage block coming from 2 different sources. But I think the main idea is that his lane is going to be pretty easy. They picked it into Brood. Brood is a hero that only auto-attacks, and any hero that only auto-attacks will typically be bad against Tide, with the exception of heroes like Monkey King and Ursa, but even those heroes actually don't do that well against Tide if people know what they're doing. So at this point, he's mostly farming, and when Ace goes on him, he's using Anchor Smash to reduce his damage. I actually don't really know why Ace is being so aggressive in this lane. It seems a little weird to me, considering the fact that Tide is quite good in these scenarios, but maybe he feels like the stick charges are enough. However, it ends up sort of baiting in Tofu, and once you have this phase boost timing, you deal a lot of damage. Unfortunately, they don't get the kill here, just a lot of stick charges. Tide, one of the flaws of Tide is that he gives a lot of stick charges with his E. Now, fortunately for Ame, he's going to get carried by his mid laner here, as the Clockwork does come in, tries to help out. Ace mans up, which almost was the right decision. Unfortunately, a Sunstray comes in, and he gets the kill. Now, in terms of items, there's 2 things you can do. If the lane is really, really easy, you can buy a Soul Ring. If the lane is a bit harder, you're getting pressured a little bit, and surprisingly, Ace is actually pressuring him a bit, then you buy Morbid Mask. And Morbid Mask is broken on this hero because it works with Anchor Smash, right? So everything Anchor Smash hits will heal you with lifesteal. And you can see at this point on neutral creeps, right? You heal for a lot. He got 70 HP off the stack here, which doesn't seem like a lot, but considering this is a really, really low cooldown ability, it's a ton, right? It's going to super add up. And at this point, you're near unzonable. You actually have the option to take a second point. Again, a second point in Kraken Shell is what typically makes you feel literally invincible. But if you're having a good time, you just want to max your E for the damage and the cooldown reduction so that you can farm quickly and push out the wave quickly. Next up, he buys a Soul Ring, which is a must on this hero. You do not have mana to not buy Soul Ring. And you can get 2 anchors off during the duration of Soul Ring, which is super nice as they kill off the Brood. And yeah, there's actually a shocking amount of synergy between this Tide and Clockwork. As even TPing mid here, very low on mana, but the Soul Ring is up in 2 seconds. Looks for a Gush, doesn't find it, probably for the best as he saves his mana for Ravage and an Anchor Smash, and they get a double kill. So great angle from him there. Naturally, like offlane Tide, when you have Ravage, you are one of the best counter gankers in the game, and so carry Tide, of course, is no different. It's really the same thing. And at this point, you want to drag the wave to camps, right? This is what offlane Tide does. It's what safe lane Tide should do. Gets an Arcane Ring, and there's a lot of good neutral items. I actually think the best one is the Spark of Courage. You just get a lot of value out of damage on this hero. However, all of the items are good. Jelly is good. Lance of Pursuit is good. Arcane Ring is good. Seeds of Serenity is, of course, totally fine if for some reason the enemy team has a lot of magic damage and you need to survive burst. You can take Safety Bubble or Seeds. Right? There's a lot of use cases for this. But at this point, with level 9, 3 points in W, this is why they picked it into Brood in this game, because the spiders don't deal any damage to you, and you can actually one-shot them. So, oh no, wow, he didn't one-shot them. He needs a little bit of damage. Damn, only if you got that Spark of Courage. That's actually good to know. I guess if you're playing against Brood, you should take one of the damage items if you get it. Either one, Duelist Gloves or Spark of Courage, because that's actually pretty sad. That's like a full last that he missed, or even more from that. But yeah, at this point, you rush a Radiance. Now, what most offlane Tides do is they buy a Vlad's, which is pretty reasonable. You have a Morbid Mask. The Vlad's is great. It gives you damage, gives you mana, gives you armor. All things Tide likes. However, he's going for the Radiance, which seems great this game. You're against the TA, get that mischance. You're against Brood, get that mischance. And then however, it's not great against the other heroes, and he certainly is susceptible to dying to Tiny plus Willow this game, so he'll have to be a little careful. However, I'd like to highlight again that, well, first of all, at this point of the game, you just sit in your lane for as long as you can. Most of the time, Tide is unpressurable, and the main thing you do is connect the wave to this camp, farm this camp. You can drag these camps together and farm them at the same time with Anchor Smash. That is hyper efficient, right? So that's great as well. And then when you have Ravage, you can look for TPs, and that's exactly what it does here. Drops it down, hits onto the Brood. Don't know why he gushed him so late. Typically, guys, when you're killing someone, you want to gush and then anchor, because gush is armor reduction and anchor is physical damage. So he should gush and then anchor here. I think maybe his mindset was slow him after the stuns, which is pretty reasonable too, and I can kind of get behind it. So once Ravage is back down, he eventually makes his way back to the bot wave, and you push out the wave very, very quickly. I would say you don't do that much in fights at this point of the game. It's not that you do nothing. I mean, he is even TPing in here, which I find a little shocking. Perhaps he just feels like, actually, you know what? He killed bot wave. I guess he could just farm these 2 camps, but it's not that efficient. He's going to get to take a mid wave, which is actually way more gold than those neutral camps. and he has the option to show up to the fight. I don't know how I feel about that TP. It was probably wrong at the end of the day, but fine overall. And if your game is really good, I mean, look what he's doing here. Invading the enemy jungle, gets the Sacred Relic, and this is a great timing because now you really can kill neutral camps very, very fast as he puts some very real pressure on the Tofu here. And by the way, if you can get solo kills with Ravage, just take them. Just take the solo kills, like, for sure, as he can reliably kill Ancients now. This is kind of the nice thing about going Radiance. When you get this Relic, it just gives you enough damage to just really efficiently kill the big creep in camps. Typically, Tide can kill the small creeps really quick, but then has to spend a lot of time auto-attacking the big creep. But with the damage item, which typically kind of is Vlad's, honestly, but with the damage item, like Sacred Relic, you can see you kill off these camps extremely quickly, especially with the Radiance Burn. And now at this point, you could consider going back for Vlad's, but I would say it's generally a mistake. I would say the best item you can buy at this point, I would say there's two things. Number one, Blink is still fantastic, right? You're still very, very tanky. I would say Glimmer Cape makes a ton of sense. This is the meta that's been coming into popularity as of late, and the reason why it makes a ton of sense on Tide is you want that magic resist, especially in a game like this against Zeus, Willow, and Tiny, even Brutal. It makes so much sense to have that Glimmer so that you will not get bursted if they try to all-in you. And so I could have seen him going that item. I really could see that as his next item. He's got a Manta queued up, which also seems pretty good. You can get out of Willow Roots. You can dodge Meld, which is actually very important. It really negates a lot of damage. And it gives you movement speed, right? This hero tends to be very kiteable. I'm surprised he's not upgrading his wand. Tends to be very kiteable, which is why Blink is fine. Blink is fine, Glimmer is fine, and Glimmer gives you that movement speed as well, right? When you activate the item, it gives 40 movement speed, so it also stops Tide from being kiteable. But look where he's playing. So annoying, taking the enemy Ancients. The TA and the Brood would typically want to be farming here at this point of the game, and that's why this Tide pick is frankly just so genius. Not only does it beat Brood in lane, it stops Brood from taking the bot tier 1 tower, and it goes a step further than that. That's usually where it ends. Heroes like Naga kind of do the same thing, but they can't typically run into the triangle and put this type of pressure. But he can. He certainly can. And most of the reason is him. I mean, look at this net worth. 10.7k net worth at minute 18. And the gameplay at this point is super straightforward. Just killing off the bot wave, thinking about going back into the triangle. Guess he feels a little afraid again. They actually do have heroes that kill in this game if they perfectly synergize it, right? Which is the Willow Tiny combo. Plus Zeus. It's actually very, very scary, this trio of heroes. He's looking to maybe connect to a fight here. Gonna kill a mid-wave, probably kill another mid-wave. You would want to farm their jungle here. It is a little scary at this point. Yeah, he probably feels a tad spooked. Neutral item, Dragon Scale, okay. So the Dragon Scale is very popular on this hero, so you can siege. Makes you hit buildings way faster. Also, the armor is nice, and the Anchor Smash applies the burn to everything you hit, so pretty efficient item, as again, just farming really quick. And in terms of talents, he takes Anchor Smash damage at 10 and Anchor Smash damage reduction at 15, which is, you know, obviously very, very good this game against the Brood and the TA. Just going to make them hit like complete noodles. Truly, if they get hit by an Anchor Smash, I mean, TA is not the worst against Anchor Smash because she has a lot of added damage, and Anchor Smash only reduces base damage, so Refraction does not get affected by it, the damage. But Brood has like a lot of base damage, for instance, because it's universal. So it has a big problem against this version of Tide. He's just being so annoying. And this is what I'm talking about. Most carry heroes, almost all carry heroes, could not even think about playing like this. And could not be putting this Brood in really a checkmate position. I mean, look at what Ace is doing in this game. Kind of just running in circles. His game is the lowest net worth. I mean, we're talking about Brood. This is one of the fastest farming heroes in the game, and he can't do anything. And Brood from behind is terrible. It's one of Dota's worst, like, from behind heroes. When behind, Brood has to farm and split push. It typically cannot fight. And so if you can't split push, I actually think Ace's best play is to try to, like, run to here, but the problem is he might get hunted down. There's a Riki with Diffusal and a Sanking with Blinks. It's like, that's not so straightforward either. And now he's got his Manta style, which just gives him really good stats. Unfortunately, SNY is not the best on this hero. I actually think it's fine, because you still like the slow resist, you still like the HP, and you like the heal lamp and the lifesteal lamp because of your eventual satanic purchase. So you actually can buy SNY on this hero. I think it's fine, but Manta does make a lot more sense considering this hero basically has built-in status resist. And in a game like this against Willow, having those illusions, stopping the Bedlam from doing very much, is hyper valuable. And so I do like the choice of Manta this game for sure. Yeah, next item, comically is Glimmer, but I love it. You don't need BKB. This is obviously not a BKB hero in almost any game. There are exceptions like Odie can sometimes force you to buy a BKB, or sometimes heroes like Viper that are going to break you. But in general, if they don't have these heroes, you just buy Glimmer. A common item that a lot of people would buy is Eternal Shroud, which I think is fine this game as well. It would make him hyper tanky, but Glimmer is kind of like it's like the fast-paced Eternal Shroud, right? Much cheaper, way cheaper, almost like what, 1600 gold? Movement speed, and the 300 barrier. And by the way, being a 14-second cooldown, you're going to get 2 of them off on Tide every team fight. So you're getting 600 HP, which is the amount of HP that Eternal Shroud gives, right? Think about it that way. It truly is the case, right? Which is why people are realizing how good Glimmer is as an item, not to mention the fact that it lets you approach with Ravage from Invis, which is obviously super practical. Now at this point, your main objective is to kill waves and continue to sweep the map. Look what he's doing. He was top, takes the top tower, queuing up Satanic, and at this point he feels invincible, and I think he is. I actually don't know if he can die at this point in the game. He's got max W, he's got a ton of armor at 23 for a strength hero, and for a hero that has innate block, and he's got magic resist, so the only thing that can really kill him is like Side Blades, which is pure. At this point of the game, they're going to go for a smoke, which is actually seen by the traps. He's going to send illusions to both of the creep waves, which I don't think will kill off the waves, which is why it's not like that OP. Radiance, illusions with Radiance deal less damage than the main hero, so typically it's not going to be enough. As he bumps into Celery here, they'll take their free Zeus kill, a lot of gold. That's completed Satanic, and at this point, he is unkillable. The main thing you want to buy now is Shard. I think it is very bad not to buy Shard here. I think it's just too good. This ability is broken. It's a 10-second leash. It basically cannot be killed by most heroes. It's 200 damage, it's pretty low cooldown at 25, and it lets you stick on top of people. So I think buying an AC here, while I do like the AC at some point, I think you just should buy the Shard once you've completed your Satanic. I even think you could buy it after Glimmer. If your team lacks catch, you should 100% buy the Shard on Carry Tide. It is just one of the best shards in the game. So yeah, let's see what he takes at level 20. Anchor Smash affects buildings. There you go. And now it's time to Siege, and you're actually one of the best Siege heroes in the game. You're really hard to poke, and you can hit both of the racks with Anchor Smash, applying that Dragon Scale, which is quite nice, as they insta-kill the racks. This is a comically good sieging hero when he has right-click items. It really is one of the best in the game. It's actually funny. I keep thinking about it. I'm like, this is one of the best in the game at sieging. As he's taking down the buildings, enemy team, can't do anything to him. The TA is poking him reasonably well. I'm actually mildly surprised how much damage he's taking. But the problem is, once the creep wave spawns, the enemy team is going to have to, like, try to glyph it. Oh, they silenced his Satanic. Oh, no, he dispelled. Does TA have a way out of this? Oh, no. Actually, low mana, but... Wow, the blubber, right? That's what it's called? The blubber dispelled him. He got the E off and healed half his health with the Satanic. And that's GG. So, yeah, just a very real carry hero. And by the way, we didn't even get to see the full potential. Just so I can show you. First of all, he has that siege capability, right? So it's going to let you end the game if you're ahead. But more importantly, if the game stalls out, which in pubs it usually does, the game's going to go late, he is one of the best carry talents in the game at level 25, a 50% chance to Anchor Smash on attack. So every time you attack, or half the times when you attack, you proc your E, which is huge damage, right? It's huge damage. And it's AoE. And it works on buildings, so you literally can siege at ridiculous pace. It is completely insane. All you need is attack speed, so that's why he was queuing up the AC, or part of the reason he was queuing up AC. A lot of it's to obviously just deal with the TA damage, which makes a ton of sense. But AC is good. Bloodthorn is really, really great at that point of the game, so you have a bit of control, you have a bit of mana, and you have that attack speed, because you want the attack speed when you hit level 25. You need AC, MKB, Bloodthorn. You could buy a Moon Shard, but I think it's a bit too cheesy. I'd rather just see like a Bloodthorn in most games. And the Bloodthorn works with Manta as well, so there's some synergy there too. But okay, I thought this would just be a fun video. I think stuff like this is so cool. It's why I love Dota. Even though there hasn't been a patch in a while. Frankly, you know, there's still a lot to figure out. I mean, not only is there a lot to figure out, there's so much to figure out. Dota's a crazy game. But alright, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one, and I'm out. Peace.
And that's all, but remember, before you leave, come on, before you tune out, subscribe to the GameLeap website, where we are going to help you get to the next rank. If you're stuck, click the link down below, and I'm out. Peace!